The massive chamber of the Galactic Council stretched upward into darkness, its curved walls lined with thousands of seats occupied by beings from across the known universe. Light from distant stars filtered through the transparent dome above, casting a soft glow on the assembled representatives of the most advanced civilizations in existence. Today was different from the countless meetings that had occurred here over the past 50,000 years. Today, they would welcome, or rather, tolerate, the newest species to join their ranks, humans from the planet Earth. Dr. James Miller stood at the center of the chamber, his heart pounding but his face calm. At 45 years old, with graying hair and worn hands that spoke of countless hours in laboratories, he represented humanity's scientific community. Next to him stood Thomas Reed, Earth's diplomatic representative, a tall man with steady eyes and an air of quiet confidence. The council president, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline structure, spoke in the universal translation frequency. The council acknowledges Earth's achievement of basic interstellar travel. You may now access Level 1 spacefaring technologies, as per our protocols. James noticed the condescension in the president's tone. To these advanced species, humans were little more than clever pets who had learned to walk upright and build simple rockets. The thought made his jaw clench, but he maintained his diplomatic smile. "We are honored," Thomas replied, following the script they had practiced. Earth looks forward to learning from the gathered wisdom of the council. A ripple of what might have been amusement passed through the chamber. An insectoid representative from the third spiral arm clicked its mandibles. Perhaps the humans would benefit from understanding why we are amused. Show them the wall. The chamber's central hologram activated, displaying a massive database of mathematical equations, failed experiments, and scientific principles. James's eyes widened as he realized what he was seeing. It was a comprehensive record of every attempt to break the light-speed barrier. For 50,000 years, the council president explained, every species in this chamber has tried to exceed the speed of light. The most brilliant minds from 1,000 worlds have dedicated their lives to this pursuit. All have failed. It is impossible. A fundamental law of the universe that cannot be broken. The hologram shifted, showing the wreckage of countless experimental ships, the equations of failed theories, and the names of scientists who had died trying to prove otherwise. It was meant to humble them, to show humans their place in the grand scheme of things. The universe has rules, continued a gaseous being floating near the center of the chamber. The speed of light is not merely a barrier. It is a fundamental constant. Even our youngest children know this. We suggest you save yourselves the effort of trying. James studied the displayed equations with growing interest. Where others might have seen intimidation, he saw opportunity. His mind began racing, noticing patterns in the failed attempts, seeing something that nagged at the edge of his consciousness. "Thank you for sharing this wisdom," he said carefully. "We have much to learn." The council moved on to other matters, barely paying attention as Earth's representatives were led to their assigned seats. Far in the back, in the section reserved for newly space-capable species. As they walked, Thomas whispered to James, "They're rather full of themselves, aren't they?" James nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. He couldn't shake the feeling that he'd seen something important in those equations. Everyone had approached the problem the same way, following the same logical paths to the same dead ends. But what if? He pulled out his data pad and began making notes. The council had meant to discourage them, to show humans their insignificance in the grand scheme of things. Instead, they had given James exactly what he needed, a comprehensive look at every failed attempt to solve the problem. And in those failures, in the patterns of those repeated attempts, he saw something that made his pulse quicken. Sometimes the greatest discoveries came not from following established paths, but from daring to ask entirely different questions. As the council droned on about trade routes and quarantine protocols, James Miller began to sketch out an idea that would eventually shake the foundations of the galaxy. Back on Earth, in the bustling research complex of New Boston, Dr. James Miller stared at his office wall covered in holographic projections. Dark circles under his eyes showed he hadn't slept much in the 3 weeks since returning from the Galactic Council meeting. "You're going to burn yourself out, James," said a voice from his doorway. Dr. Anna Thompson stood there, holding 2 cups of coffee. She was shorter than James, with practical short brown hair and alert eyes that missed nothing. As the leading expert in quantum mechanics on Earth, she had reviewed his initial findings. "Look at this, Anna," James said, taking the coffee without looking away from the wall. Every single species approached the light speed problem the same way. They all tried to break through it, like punching a hole in a wall. Anna walked closer, studying the equations floating in the air. "And you think there's another way? What if we're asking the wrong question?" James turned to face her, his eyes bright with excitement. "They all asked, how do we go faster than light? But what if that's not the right question at all?" Anna raised an eyebrow. "What's the right question then? What if we asked, why do we need to go faster than light at all?" James waved his hand, and the hologram shifted to show his new calculations. "Look at quantum entanglement. 2 particles can affect each other instantly, regardless of distance. No speed limit there. Because they're not actually moving through space," Anna said slowly, her eyes widening as she followed his logic. "They're connected regardless of distance." "Exactly." James pressed a button, and a new simulation appeared. "What if instead of trying to break the speed of light, we found a way to fold space itself, make 2 points touch that were far apart?" Anna set down her coffee and pulled up a chair. For the next hour, they worked through the mathematics together, combining quantum mechanics with gravitational theory in ways no one, human or alien, had tried before. "This could work," Anna said finally, running another simulation. "But we'd need to prove it. The amount of energy required would be less than trying to break light speed," James interrupted. "Much less. Look at the numbers." The door chimed, and Thomas Reed walked in. The diplomat looked concerned. "We just got a message from the council. They've heard about your research. And—" He paused, looking uncomfortable. "Let me guess," James said dryly. "They think we're wasting our time. They sent a formal recommendation to stop this line of research. They say it's—" Thomas checked his tablet, primitive and shows a lack of understanding of basic universal constants. Anna laughed. "They haven't even seen our approach yet." "And they won't," James said firmly. "Not until we have proof." He turned to Thomas. "Can you buy us time? Keep them thinking we're just running basic experiments." Thomas smiled. "Already on it. I've told them we're focusing on improving our regular space drives. They seemed pleased that we're learning our place." Over the next few weeks, James and Anna worked tirelessly. They brought in a small team of trusted scientists, each carefully chosen for their ability to think differently. While the alien scientists wrote papers about their foolishness, the human team made breakthrough after breakthrough. "It's beautiful," Anna said one evening, looking at their completed theoretical model. "We're not trying to break the universe's rules. We're just finding a loophole," James finished. "The universe says nothing can go faster than light through space. Fine, we'll just change the way we move through space itself." A young assistant burst into the lab, face flushed with excitement. "The test chamber is ready. The quantum fold generators are installed." James and Anna shared a look. This was it, the moment to prove their theory. Either they were about to make history, or join the long list of failed attempts on the council's wall of impossibility. "Well," Anna said, standing up and straightening her lab coat, "shall we go bend the universe?" The test chamber hummed with energy as James and Anna made final adjustments to their equipment. Located deep beneath the new Boston facility, the room was filled with a complex array of quantum sensors and gravitational field generators. In the center stood their first test device, a simple metal cube the size of a sugar cube. "Recording device active," called out Mark, their lab technician. His fingers flew over the control panel as he double-checked every reading. "Quantum field is stable." "The alien observer will be here in 20 minutes, Thomas announced, walking into the chamber. "Are you sure we want to do this with them watching? We could wait." "No," James interrupted, not looking up from his calculations. "We need their data to confirm our results. Even if they mock us, their sensors will record everything." Anna nodded, making a final adjustment to the quantum fold generator. Besides, their presence proves we're not faking anything. "Ready, James." Before James could answer, the lab door opened again, a tall crystalline being floated in. The Council's official observer. Its translucent body sparkled under the lab lights as it spoke through its universal translator. "I must again protest this waste of resources," it said. "Your theory violates basic principles of—" "Thank you for your concern," Thomas interrupted smoothly. "But we're proceeding with the test. Please prepare your monitoring equipment." The alien observer made a sound like tinkling glass, their species equivalent of a sigh. "Very well, though I fail to see how this primitive approach could." "Beginning test sequence," Anna announced loudly, drowning out the observer's complaints. "Quantum field stabilizing at 97%. Gravitational manipulators online." James took a deep breath, looking at the simple metal cube. All their theories, all their work, came down to this moment. "Start recording." Phase 1. Establishing quantum entanglement field. The air around the cube began to shimmer as invisible forces took hold. The alien observer's crystalline body vibrated slightly as its sensors detected the growing energy field. "Phase 2, Anna called out. "Initiating space fold calculations. Mark, how's our power curve?" "Holding steady at 12% of estimated light speed energy requirements," Mark reported. "Way below dangerous levels." The alien observer moved closer, its crystalline form showing signs of confusion. "That's impossible. The energy readings make no sense. You can't possibly." "Phase 3, James announced. "Activating gravitational manipulation field. Creating fold point alpha." The air around the cube began to ripple like heat waves rising from hot pavement. The alien sensors were beeping frantically now as it recorded readings that, according to every known law of physics, shouldn't exist. "Fold point stable," Anna reported, her voice tense with concentration. "Ready for transport. Target is 2 meters forward, on the test platform." It was a tiny distance, just 2 meters. But if it worked, if they could move matter even that small distance without crossing the space between, everything would change. "Execute," James ordered. For a split second, nothing happened. Then the cube simply vanished and reappeared instantly on the target platform 2 meters away. The lab erupted in cheers, but James held up his hand for silence. "Mark, confirmation." "Scanning now," Mark said, his fingers dancing across his console. "The cube is intact. No atomic degradation. Perfect transport. And time of transit was 0. Actually 0. The alien observer rushed to the cube, its own sensors extending from its crystalline body. This is not possible. You didn't exceed light speed, but the object moved instantly." "How?" "We didn't break the light speed barrier," Anna explained, unable to keep the pride from her voice. "We simply didn't use it. The cube never moved through the space between points. We folded space so the starting point and target temporarily occupy the same location. Like bringing 2 points on a paper together by folding it," James added. "The distance becomes 0, so speed becomes irrelevant." The observer's crystalline body had taken on a pale, almost white color, a sign of extreme shock in its species. The Council, they must be informed immediately. This changes everything. Thomas smiled diplomatically. "Of course. Please send them your complete sensor readings. I'm sure they'll find them educational." As the observer hurried from the lab, James turned to his team. "That was just 2 meters. Next week, we try 2 kilometers, and after that—" He looked up toward the ceiling and the stars beyond. "After that, We fold space itself. 1 month after the first successful test, the Lunar Research Facility buzzed with activity. Through the dome's transparent panels, Earth hung like a blue jewel in the black sky. Inside, James and Anna stood before a gathered crowd of scientists, diplomats, and alien observers. In the center of the massive testing chamber sat their new creation, the prototype ship Starfold 1. It was small, just big enough for instruments and a few small test objects. Its silver hull gleamed under the harsh laboratory lights. The Council has sent representatives from 12 different worlds to observe this test. Thomas whispered to James. They still think we're going to fail, but they're worried enough to watch closely. James nodded, noticing how the alien observers huddled together, their various sensing organs focused on the prototype. The Council had officially declared the previous tests inconclusive, despite clear evidence of success. All systems check complete, Mark announced from the control room above. Quantum fold generators at full power. Target coordinates locked. Mars orbital station. A murmur ran through the crowd. The distance to Mars varied depending on orbital positions, but today it was nearly 20 light-minutes away. No ship had ever crossed that distance in less than several days. Beginning test sequence. Anna called out, her voice steady despite the tension. Initializing quantum field. The air around Starfold 1 began to shimmer with a faint blue light. The alien observers' instruments whirred and clicked as they recorded every detail. Field stability at 100%, Mark reported. Power consumption remains at 15% of traditional light speed requirements. One of the alien observers, a tall being with metallic skin, stepped forward. These readings cannot be accurate. The energy curve suggests. Space fold initiating, James announced, interrupting the protest. On the main screen, a complex web of mathematical calculations flowed as the computer mapped the fold points in space. Anna's fingers flew over her control panel. Gravitational manipulators online, creating fold corridor between Earth and Mars coordinates. The blue field around the ship intensified. Several alien observers took steps backward as their instruments began registering readings that their science said should be impossible. Fold corridor stable, Mark called out. Ready for transport on your mark. James took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. Their previous tests had all been successful, but nothing at this scale. Execute transport. For a split second, the blue field flared brilliantly. Then Starfold 1 simply vanished. The chamber erupted in chaos. Alien observers rushed to their instruments, chattering in various languages as their translators struggled to keep up. Human scientists crowded around the monitoring stations. Mars orbital station reporting. Mark shouted over the noise. Starfold 1 has appeared exactly at the target coordinates. Transit time, 0 seconds. The metallic-skinned alien's jaw dropped, literally detached and had to be caught. Impossible. The distance. The calculations. You can't. Receiving data package from Starfold 1. Anna announced, her face breaking into a huge smile. All systems nominal. Test objects intact. No atomic degradation. Full success. Thomas quickly stepped forward to address the alien observers. As you can see, our primitive approach has some merit. The Council might want to revise its position on human scientific capabilities. Initiating return sequence, James called out. Before the aliens could respond, the blue field appeared again at the target coordinates, and Starfold 1 reappeared exactly where it had started. As the team began checking the return ship, James noticed Anna staring at the main screen with an odd expression. "What is it?" he asked. "Look at these readings," she said quietly. "The fold corridor. It was more stable than we predicted. Much more stable. James, I think we could have gone further. Much further." James studied the data, his eyes widening. How much further? Based on these numbers. Anna looked up at him, her eyes shining with excitement. "I think we could reach Alpha Centauri. Maybe even the galactic core itself." The alien observers, hearing this through their translators, fell into stunned silence. One of them activated their council communication device with trembling appendages. The message they sent was brief. Humans have done it. Everything changes now. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from over 1,000 worlds packed the seats, their voices creating a constant buzz of excitement and concern. At the center of the chamber, a large space had been cleared for Earth's demonstration. James stood beside the newly completed Horizon, humanity's first full-sized space-folding ship. Its sleek silver hull stretched 50 meters in length, bearing both the United Earth emblem, and below it, the words Ad Astra per Scientiam, to the stars through science. The council president is arriving, Thomas whispered, straightening his formal diplomatic uniform, along with the chief science committee. The crystalline form of the council president floated down to the center platform, accompanied by 5 other beings representing the most scientifically advanced species in known space. Their attitudes had shifted from dismissive to concerned after the Mars test, but they still doubted humanity's ability to achieve true deep space travel. Humans, the president's voice echoed through the chamber. You have requested this demonstration despite our warnings about the dangers of your approach. While your short-range tests showed interesting results, we must emphasize the risks of attempting longer distances. Anna, standing at the ship's main control panel, smiled politely. We understand your concerns. That's why we've invited you all to witness this demonstration personally. Your own sensors can verify everything. The Chief Science Committee members moved to their monitoring stations, their various instruments extending to scan the horizon. Mark, at the engineering station, gave James a thumbs up. All systems were ready. If you fail, one of the committee members warned, the spatial distortion could destroy this entire station. We won't fail, James said simply. He turned to address the chamber. For 50,000 years, you've all tried to break the light speed barrier. Today, we're going to show you why that was never necessary. He nodded to Anna, who began the startup sequence. The familiar blue field began to form around the horizon, but this time it was stronger, more stable than ever before. Target coordinates set, she announced. The Vega system, 25 light-years from Earth. A gasp rippled through the chamber. Even the most optimistic observers had expected a jump of perhaps a few light days. 25 light-years was beyond anything they had imagined. This is madness, one of the committee members protested. The energy requirements alone would. Power at 12% of light speed requirements, Mark called out, unable to hide his grin. Quantum field stable, fold corridor mapping in progress. The chamber's main holographic display showed the complex calculations as the Horizon's computers plotted the spacefold. The alien scientists watched in growing amazement as their instruments confirmed everything. Fold corridor stable, Anna reported. All systems green. Beginning final countdown. James took his position by the main viewport. Through it, he could see the shocked faces of thousands of alien representatives. In moments, they would either witness history or, well, he preferred not to think about the alternative. 10 seconds, Mark announced. 9, 8. The blue field intensified, creating a sphere of shimmering energy around the ship. 7, 6, 5. The alien sensors were going crazy, recording readings that defied their understanding of physics. 4, 3, 2. James took a deep breath. This was it. Humanity's moment to show the galaxy what they could do. 1. Fold initiated. The horizon vanished. The chamber erupted in chaos. Thousands of beings rushed to their sensors and viewing screens. The council president's crystalline form vibrated with tension as they waited. 3 seconds passed. Then the communication system crackled to life. Horizon to Galactic Council. James's voice came through clearly. We have arrived at the Vega coordinates. Local space markers confirm our position. Transit time was 0 seconds. Sending visual confirmation now. The chamber's main screen lit up with a view of the brilliant blue-white star Vega, exactly as it should appear from their calculated position. The Council's own navigation systems confirmed the location. 25 light-years, crossed in an instant. In the stunned silence that followed, the Council President spoke a single word that seemed to echo through the chamber. How? How? The Council President's question still echoed through the chamber as the horizon reappeared exactly where it had started, the blue field of its quantum drive fading away. James stepped out of the ship, carrying a small container. He walked to the center of the chamber and opened it, revealing a piece of rock with strange, swirling patterns. A mineral sample from Vega's third planet, he said. Feel free to analyze it. Your sensors will confirm its origin. The Chief Science Committee rushed forward with their instruments. After several minutes of intense scanning, one of them looked up. It's genuine. The atomic structure matches vegan minerals perfectly. They really did it. Anna joined James, holding up a datapad. Would you like me to explain how? The chamber, still packed with representatives from 1,000 worlds, fell silent. Even the Council President's crystalline form grew still, all attention focused on the two humans. For 50,000 years, Anna began, activating a holographic display. Everyone tried to break through the light-speed barrier, but we looked at it differently. We asked, what if we could take space itself and... She picked up a piece of paper from a nearby desk. Fold it. She folded the paper so two distant points touched. Space isn't as rigid as you all thought. Using quantum entanglement as a framework and controlled gravitational fields as the mechanism, we can create temporary corridors where 2 points in space occupy the same location. But the energy requirements, one committee member started, are minimal. Mark interrupted from the ship's ramp, because we're not fighting against light speed at all. We're just rearranging space itself, like taking a shortcut instead of running through all the hallways. The Council President floated closer. You understand what this means. The implications for galactic civilization. We do, James nodded. That's why we're willing to share the technology. Another wave of murmurs swept through the chamber. Sharing such a revolutionary discovery was unprecedented. But Thomas stepped forward, his diplomatic training showing. We have conditions. First, proper safety protocols must be established. Second, the technology must be available to all species, not just the current council members. And third, Anna added, the council needs to recognize that sometimes the youngest species might have something to teach the oldest ones. The council president's crystalline form shifted colors, a sign of deep thought in their species. You could keep this advantage for yourselves. Earth could become the most powerful world in the galaxy. James shook his head. That's not who we are. Humanity has made plenty of mistakes, but we've learned that progress comes from sharing knowledge, not hoarding it. He turned to address the entire chamber. We're not here to dominate. We're here to explore, to learn, and to help all of us move forward together. A new sound filled the chamber. The sound of appendages striking surfaces. It took a moment for the humans to realize that, in their own ways, the assembled species were applauding. Very well, the Council President announced. By my authority, I hereby elevate Earth to full Council status, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. Furthermore, I propose the immediate formation of a joint research committee to safely implement this new technology across known space. As the chamber erupted in excited discussion, Anna turned to James with a smile. Ready for one more demonstration? What did you have in mind? She held up her data pad, showing a set of calculations. I've been working on something. If we modify the fold corridor slightly, we might be able to reach the Andromeda galaxy. James's eyes widened. 2.5 million light-years. Why not? Anna grinned. We've already rewritten the rules once today. Above them, through the chamber's transparent dome, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if welcoming the new era of exploration. The impossible had become possible, and humanity had led the way. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 year had passed since the historic demonstration at the Galactic Council. James stood at the observation deck of the New Earth Space Academy, watching ships appear and disappear in flashes of blue light. Each flash represented another successful spacefold jump, carrying vessels from across the galaxy to distant destinations. "Still can't believe how much has changed," Anna said, joining him at the window. She handed him a cup of coffee. "Some things remained constant, no matter how much the universe changed." Below them, the academy grounds were filled with students from hundreds of different species. Young beings from across the galaxy now came to Earth to learn the principles of space-folding technology. The sight of crystalline entities floating alongside insectoid creatures and gaseous beings had become common. "Latest report from the Andromeda mission," Mark called out, walking onto the deck with a datapad. Their first successful jump to another galaxy had led to a flood of new discoveries. They've established the first permanent fold station in the Andromeda galaxy. Travel time remains 0, regardless of the 2.5 million light-year distance. James smiled, remembering how the Council had reacted to that particular achievement. "Any word from Thomas?" "Still in meetings with the new Galactic Exchange," Anna replied. "Apparently, when you make it possible to cross the galaxy in an instant, it really shakes up the trade routes." The observation deck's door opened again, and the familiar crystalline form of the Council President floated in. In the past year, they had become a frequent visitor to Earth. "Dr. Miller, Dr. Thompson," the President's translator conveyed their warm tone. "The Council has finished reviewing your latest proposal." James and Anna exchanged glances. They had submitted plans for an even more ambitious project, exploring galaxies beyond Andromeda. "I must admit," the President continued, their crystalline form shifting to pleasant blues and greens, "that a year ago, I would have dismissed such ideas immediately. But you humans have taught us much about the danger of assuming something is impossible." "Does that mean?" Anna started. "The Council approves. The Multi-Galactic Exploration Initiative will begin immediately. We've already received volunteer applications from 10,000 scientists across known space." Mark whistled. "From thinking we were primitive to letting us lead multi-galaxy exploration. Times really have changed." "Indeed," the President agreed. "Which is why I'm here for another reason as well. The Council has decided to relocate its central chambers to Earth. It seems appropriate, given recent events." James nearly choked on his coffee. Earth as the center of galactic civilization. The idea would have seemed absurd just a year ago. "There's more," the President added. "We're changing the Council's motto. The new one reads, 'Question everything. Assume nothing.' We felt it captured the lesson humanity taught us." Through the window, another ship appeared in a flash of blue light. This one was massive, one of the new exploration vessels built with combined technology from a dozen worlds. Its hull bore the symbols of both Earth and the Galactic Council. "Ready for the next impossible thing?" Anna asked James with a grin. Before he could answer, a young alien student rushed onto the deck, their translator barely keeping up with their excited words. "Professors, we've been studying the fold corridor calculations, and we think we found a way to reach parallel universes." The Council President's form flickered, their equivalent of laughter. "And so it begins again. Shall we tell them it's impossible?" "No," James said, watching the student's eager expression. "Let's help them prove us wrong." As they followed the excited student to the laboratory, James thought about how far they'd come. Humanity had done more than develop a new way to travel through space. They'd shown the galaxy a new way to think. In the end, that was perhaps their greatest achievement, teaching the oldest civilizations in space that sometimes the best way to solve an impossible problem was to question why it was considered impossible in the first place. Above them, the stars beckoned. And now, thanks to human ingenuity and determination, no distance was too far, no destination too remote, no dream too ambitious. The impossible had become just another problem waiting to be solved.